Hi everybody. I suppose our Twitch stream had some video issues, so we're doing a quick little record of our level building software that we have in Unity. And I guess for disclaimer, I'm listening to Spotify. It's this band. It's free for anyone to listen to, so it should be okay that I have it playing as I do this. So alright, let's talk about building some levels here. While I get some of the basic stuff set up here, I gotta futz with the level data, which this indicates how our player moves and the size of the map, and if we had the mini-map working, it would also pull up the mini-map. But I don't have it working in this dungeon, but I have a dungeon that I can show us where it's working. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to start building the walls of the dungeon, and while I do that, I just want to talk about why it is that we're doing this. And we're doing this to show basically the skeleton of what we have in terms of our level editing software stuff. We got some feedback on the Kickstarter about how, the dungeons are looking kind of rough and empty, and we completely agree, we understand, and the thing that we did with our Kickstarter is a lot of folks, I guess, build out like the really flashy aspects first, and then go back and build what we have here in later with the money they get from the Kickstarter. We did it sort of opposite, just because we ourselves are not really the programmers. So what we chose to do is build a skeleton first, and then we can add all the muscle and tissue and whatnot later, which is, that's where the Kickstarter money would go. In making what we're building here today, we would make it so that it's a lot prettier, if that makes sense. So okay, I built the general walls here, and as you can see on this hierarchy, all of these walls, they're actually not really walls. They're called collision prefabs, and what those mean, I guess I'll relate it to something that I understand. When you play a lot of games, specifically JRPGs from like PS2, you'll be walking along a path, and then all of a sudden you'll kind of stop walking forward, like there's an invisible wall preventing you from going further into the woods, Onimusha. And that is what these collision prefabs are. They are those invisible walls. So that's what we're building here, are basically the invisible walls, which we have made visible for sanity purposes. Because I don't know how easy it would be to build these if you couldn't actually see the blocks you were placing. There's two there, there's that there. This goes this way. Yeah. And this wall goes all the way up here. Yeah, it does. So for me, I grew up kind of like drawing mazes on like my notebook paper in school. So doing something like this is actually a lot of fun for me. So I get kind of sidetracked and I get all into it. Okay, so I think what I've built here should be good enough to show a couple of things. A lot of dungeons, have little gimmicky traps and whatnot, and we have those also as I put these collision prefabs away, because I'm OCD. They go under walls. Hooray! Thinking about it. Decided not to. Okay, I guess we can try again. I'm not like Mr. Unity professional guy, so I kind of roll with the punches Unity gives me sometimes. Alright, so what these are over here, I put them on the side just because I don't want to have to try to make them myself, so I pulled them from a different dungeon. Ooh, Spotify ads. Let's pay attention, I guess, to LearnVest. Make the most of your money. Alexa von Tobel, LearnVest founder and CEO, speaking. That was informative, and it didn't distract me at all. Just a lie. Okay, anyway, these one-way doors here, that's what they're listed under the doors here. In a lot of dungeon crawlers, you'll have things like one-way doors and switches that you can only, you have to, what am I trying to say? You flip a switch and it will open up a series of thematically appropriate doors. So what I'm doing is I'm putting a couple of those in here. And if that works right, then I will only be able to go up this way and down this way. And if I want to be super duper special, I can try to get it to also work on this way up here. And what I'm going to do with this, I'll show off something else while I'm building that. So we'll have those one-way doors that hopefully work the way I think they work. I usually get them opposite, but that's okay. What I'm going to put in next is a fun little event icon. So also, like in these games, you'll have, events in the dungeons, and in our game, it kind of, what am I trying to say? Based on the party you have, you may be privy to certain sub-events that'll help you gain more points for certain girls if you're having trouble, keeping them up to the same level as the other female characters in terms of the emotional side of things. I mean, you can, of course, grind to your heart's content, but this is to help you get points to go toward that girl's ending. So what I did there is I put a, let's see, I'll zoom in a little for you, put a neat little exclamation icon in. How adorable. And that's a little closer to what would be in the final game, I guess. This one's actually really gigantic. Let's kind of scale that down a little, huh? Sounds good. Now it's kind of small. This is like half of my adventure in Unity, is like futzing with sizes until I feel like they're okay. Not like it actually matters, it's just a little play dungeon here. Alright, so on top of that icon, I want to put what we have down here in the assets is called an event trigger prefab. And a lot of this is thanks to our one programmer who's just been an absolute peach in helping us put stuff like this together, getting the core engine of things running, I guess. The negative 17th, what is that, E? Negative 1.5. Thanks. Pull up that little shine there a little bit. Alright, so what that's going to do here should reference this scene file. I think I called it streaming. I made a little BS file here for this. Well, I did it for the stream, but our video was messed up. So it's just called stream. Okay. And let's see if there's anything else I want to add in here. Let's see, assets. I've got in the collisions for the walls. I've got in an event trigger with an icon that spins, by the way, which is awesome. And yeah, okay, let's give this a try. Let's see how this dungeon ended up. So here we are in the dungeon that we just erected while I was talking. And before I do anything else, I just want to point out a couple things. What is it? It's not that one. This level data here in this hierarchy. This is what kind of determines the player movement. You know, in these sorts of games, you move grid by grid, or grid space by grid space, square by square. And to keep all that math kind of in check, our programmer, who I guess is part of made this level data thing, which kind of stores the size of the map, and you know, it just helps us determine where the player is, how the player moves, you know, 90 degrees, one block at a time. So that's an engine. Like, that's what you have to build before you can have the game itself functioning. So we have that, and that is what we're gonna use to walk around this dungeon with. And let's see if the one-way doors work. Oh, I put them in opposite, of course. So this one should open up only this direction. Ding! So it opens up that direction. And then I should be able to go back out this way then. Ding! And then we're back out. So those work. I'm kind of like upset that I got them backwards, so I'm going to fix that. So this is the one that should be on all those other spots. Got a little Miku going. Everything's a little better when you have Miku on the horn. So that one we don't want there. We want one of these there instead. If I were better at Unity, I probably wouldn't make this mistake. But that's okay. That's what we're doing. We're learning. We're learning and we're teaching. Pull that down. Pull that there. Make another one. Pull it over here. Now that should work a-okay. Event trigger, I want to actually make this firing one standing visible. Put it underneath the exclamation. So I've noticed the little bit that I've used Unity is that keeping your hierarchy kind of tidy really helps. To people who are programmers, that probably sounds really stupid and obvious, but we've experienced that it's not exactly 100% that people are gonna do things that way, but it helps so much to have it organized. So, you know, just whatever. Word of advice, I guess. Alright, so here we are back in the dungeon again. Let's see, these one-way doors should work now. Bing! I binged instead of ding. And if I want to ignore the exclamation, I want to see if that door also works. Yes, that door also works. So this is like, you know, a sub-event. So in a dungeon you would see a little floating exclamation point if you had X, Y, and Z in your party. You would approach it, and then that scene would play. And this is me just sort of commenting on our stream that we tried to do on Friday. The video had buffering issues. Jordan says, you know it. And then that's that event. And after that, once I get a little better at this, the exclamation point would also go away. That's that. So that's the basic building blocks of how we build a dungeon crawler level. And I want to also pull open another dungeon here. I'm going to save that because that was good. So this is a dungeon our programmer made, and it highlights more of the functions that are going to be available. So first and foremost, you can see the little mini-map pop up there. Well, you would if I had it sized properly. So let's pull this back again. I'm going to pull the game itself out. So it seems like I'm just a little bit off of the stream. Okay. I want to be able to hit play at least. And then I'll pull it back up. Load it in. There it is. So now you can see a little bit better. There's the mini-map that we have. It's still in progress. Above the little mini-map itself, it would have the dungeon name. And our icon right now is sort of, instead of an arrow, we have a pointed heart. And as we explore, the map goes from a dark purple to a brighter pink, which goes with our color scheme that you can see in our battle screenshots. The girls have this bright pink backsplash on them, which we thought is really cool. It's sort of a nod to Danganronpa, who also had a very, I don't know, cool color scheme, I guess. So what I'm doing is I'm walking past all these different doors, so you can see on the mini-map, an open door has sort of a different little icon here that shows that you can walk through it. And this here is a switch plate, so it switches the doors that are open. So now this door is shut and this one is open. And imagine, if you will, on a broader spectrum, this switch plate not being a plate, but being, a switch on a wall, and it opens all green doors and closes all red doors. And this would be a red door, this would be a green door, and then you make your way through the dungeon through a series of switches, and, going from green to whatever I said, green to red, green to brown, I don't remember, doesn't matter. And let's see, this is a normal door, it just opens when you get close to it. And one of these is a one-way door, I can't remember which. You go through it, yeah, this is the normal one, so whatever side you come by, it'll pop open. And this one here is a one-way door then. So I go on the other side, now it's shut. Oh no! Whatever are we going to do? I guess we will go back out this way. And another element that's important to note with the dungeon mini-map, how it's drawing these walls here, it's drawing the collision prefabs, which is what I put into the other dungeon. So it's important to have these collisions, that these invisible walls, essentially, in the exact right spots, so that they're not, halfway into another square, and kind of screwing up all of your movement math. Yeah, so that's that dungeon there with the mini-map functioning. Let's go back here to the stream level. Pull this back onto the scene. So I think that about shows our basic level editor. We can warp between floors. We have a bunch of other different little icons. I'll just, drop them in here for funsies. They'll be giant. Most of them going stairs up. And they won't be circling or anything, but you can at least see it's like a giant cupcake. That's sort of a monster encounter icon. I don't know why it's kind of gray. I think I screwed something up when I imported it. And this is the little icon that indicates, this is where a staircase is. Go up to the next floor here. And yeah, how this would work after we would get kickstarting funds is you would take I'm just going to try to do it real quick. I'll probably mess it up. But what you do is you essentially take wall textures and you can put them over top of the prefabs. So like for instance, I'll just take this floor texture here. I think I can take this one. Yeah, it's a texture. So I should be able to take that, flop it up there. See, now it's on this wall. And that is essentially how the core textures would work, is we would get, you know, really nice HD art textures, and we'll use my imagination here. Like this would have, you know, half of an arch, and then we would have the other half of the arch going this way. So then when those two are tiled together, you have a full arch. And then we can add 3D objects to give it some depth, you know, put a little like table here, a little stack of books or something. That's what the Kickstarter money is for. We developed all of the whole skeleton first. We have that visual novel thing, which I showed on the last stream. In fact, it's kind of funny because I can incorporate what we did last time into this one. So I'm just going to do this real quick. Go out here, and you'll hit an event icon. Oops, I screwed up. So what I didn't say before was that this story canvas, I have to keep turning that on before I go into an event scene, because that is kind of our event scene activator magic button. So you'll notice this time around, I'll hit that exclamation point and an event will start right away. Oops. Bam. And if you guys tune into the stream the other week, this is what we worked on the other week. And of course, it's just a little off center for you guys. So there's the scene here that we made last time. And I would like to ask Jordan what the plan is. I'm noticing a pretty low frame rate on my end, so I apologize to you guys for that. It's, my laptop's not exactly a graphic horse. But when we play these on our normal computer without like all the debug stuff going on in the background, it plays, you know, nice, solid, what was it? Was it 30 frames or 60 frames? Either way, for this type of game, the amount of frames really doesn't matter as long as you can hit a solid 30 or 29.98. Well, come on, that's gross. Tsundere, of course, getting offended. It's because you're dead. Nobody wants to look up the skirt of a dead person.
When it comes to money, many of us are trying to spend money.
Undead undies. Oh, here comes LearnVest again. Coming to tell me how to learn to vest myself. But yeah, so that covers not just the level editor, but it also shows how the event scenes tie into the levels, and that we have that going. So if we were making a game in like the mid-90s, we'd pretty much be able to call it a day, just put some like garbage images on these prefabs and just say, yep, okay, there you go. But we want to make it really nice, and so that's what we're hoping the Kickstarter can help support. So thank you guys for all of your support thus far, and please continue to support us, and we really want to make a really, really fun game for you guys that you won't see in Japan because we're making it here. So yeah, thank you guys. Please, what should I do? Should I do the begging? Please like and subscribe and comment and Foursquare and Pinterest and IKEA. You can IKEA something. Alright, and also, thanks to Spotify and Miku for making the background enjoyable for us. Alright, until later. Thanks, guys.